wonder, what is you on now? What is you on now? You only love me when it's December. Love you forever, baby, I wanna. What is you on now? What is you on now? You unpredictable, so unbelievable. I cannot leave you alone. I wanna leave you at home. I really need you, you be on the go. We on the low. I sent you a message, you left it on froze. Now that shit melted, my left wrist on froze. Damn, that's ironic, you used to be gold. I got the money and all of the hoes. You want it from me, I won't let it go. When I was bumming, you acted so slow. Now I came up and now you won't go. But you should've stayed down, it's not how it goes. I wanna know the spell that I'm under. Her love is blind, baby, I wonder. What is you on now? What is you on now? You only love me when her love is blind, baby, I wonder. What is you on now? What is you on now? You only love me when it's December. Love you forever, baby, I wanna. What is you on now? What is you on now? Peace, family. It's the Hood Mystic, representing www.hoodmystic.com. And today is another daily energy reading. Today is September 25th, 2018. Like always, want to send a shout out to the Patreon family over there at patreon.com/hoodmystic. They make this show possible, so we just want to show them love and show them light and appreciate them for their continued support. And if you want to join the Patreon family for as little as $1 a month, be sure to check that out at patreon.com/thehoodmystic. There's a lot of good things going on over there. 50% off of readings plus monthly energy readings. And also, you know, a way to just get in contact with me, because we do have different packages and things like that. So be sure to check out patreon.com/thehoodmystic. And why are we here today? We're here to talk about intimating, or how to intimate. I know when you seen the title of this video, you thought I was gonna come through on a tank top with some baby oil on me and we was gonna get intimate. But no, this is not what we're not talking about intimate or intimacy. We're talking about intimating, to make known. I really want us to focus in on the prefix to the word intimate. Intimate, and then another word, indirect. Sometimes we look at the word indirect. Oh shit. Sorry guys. Sometimes we look at the word indirect and we imagine it to be not direct, right? Because you're being indirect. But let's take a look at the prefix to that word, indirect. If I'm going to be indirect, then I'm going within myself, and then I'm directing myself from within. I'm indirect. I'm not being haphazard. I'm being more direct than simply being direct. I'm being indirect. And so this is the energy that we're going to deal with. Indirection, intimate, and even intimate. The first word is in, and then we have mate. So, you know, mating with yourself, loving yourself, unifying your left and right brain, unifying your masculine and feminine. These are ways to truly love ourselves and get truly intimate, but also intimating a union within and bringing about the realization in the external world. So we just really want to be clear about some of these astrological things and discuss some of these astrological things that are happening. And we want this information to be clear to the family, because a lot of the family think that, you know, they're going to make it by themselves. They're going to do it on their own. They don't need anybody's help. But then you look at the world, and you see people that are successful, people that are wealthy, you know, protected, secure. They got a whole tribe with them. They got a whole group of people with them.
So what is the reality that one has to get to if we truly want to be successful, if we truly want to be wealthy and, you know, engage in this consciousness in the world? Well, we have to begin to involve other people. And so as we begin to discuss Mars in the first decan of Aquarius, we're talking about enterprise. We discussed this last week when we discussed Mars in the first decan, but the same rules apply because Mars is still in the first decan of Aquarius. So enterprise. And then what's happening with Mars? Mars comes off a grand cross and goes straight up into a mystic rectangle. So the grand cross was a bunch of abstractions, a bunch of things that you have to deal with and come to grips with. And then you go into a mystic rectangle where it's still like a lot of oppositional energy. But then the difference between a grand cross and a mystic rectangle is that there are positive stimulus that support the opposition. So the oppositions to Mars is the nodes. So when I say positive support to oppositions, the reality that any aspect to the North Node is a positive supportive placement. But we just have to understand it. Even if it's an opposition to the nodes, it's still something that we need to, it's like, you know, I'm opposed to my spiritual reality, then okay, like and unlike is the same. That opposition we have to meet in the middle somehow. Because I know that I have support spiritually. But if I don't know it, if I can't find it, then I have to have some action. I have to intimate a relationship to my spiritual self. I have to go within and mate these different parts of my being if I feel like I don't have spiritual support. This carries on to what we talked about yesterday, the idea of paranoia and paranoia. And so the reality hit me when I was taking out the trash this morning that when we talk about African spirituality, a lot of people are paranoid. You know, I start talking about Orishas and people are like, oh, you can't do that. You shouldn't talk about the Orishas like that. Something bad might happen to you. Oh, you talk about African spirituality? You talk about that voodoo? Oh, something bad gonna happen to you. That's paranoia. See, I don't give a shit about any energy. I will interface with it. I don't care. I will deal with all the Orishas. I will have Orishas. I will have angels. I'll have saints. I'll have Hindu. Because when I speak of spirituality, I'm paranoid. I'm not paranoid. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of the bad that can happen when I don't interface with my spirit. When I don't interface with my spirit, then I'm paranoid. And so I just want to say that Mars opposed the nodes gives you support. And if you don't feel that you have support, you need to begin to walk towards that support. Because I'm telling you, once you interface with these spirits, good things happen. I wish you was with me the journey of my YouTube channel so you can see the beauty of working with African spirituality. Every 2 weeks we do an Orisha of the week. We bring awareness to the various Orishas, various paths throughout the diaspora. And then we give its correspondences to astrology and spirituality, etc. Not because I'm afraid of the Orishas. Not because I'm afraid of you know, people like, oh, witchcraft. Ooh, spooky. I'm so scared, Hood Mystic. I don't know what to do. First thing, you need to not be paranoid. Second thing, you need to learn how to adapt the idea of paranoia. Because what's happening is that you haven't rectified your human shit. If you haven't rectified your human shit, there's no way you can interface with the spirit, because the spirit is giving you nothing but love and light and illumination, right? This is what the spirit is giving you, but inside of you, it's like you haven't intimated. You haven't created that bond within yourself. You haven't understood your energy. So of course the Orishas are spooky. Of course religion is faulty. Of course spirituality ain't right. And trust me, this is conscious people. Cause soon as you leave the church, you start talking shit about the church. That's not your place. That's not your job to save people when inside of you, you're hurt. And we can clearly see that you're hurt because here you are talking stuff about people who want to learn more about God. And maybe it's not the right thing for you, but it's probably the right thing for the people, probably the people in the church. They need to be there getting what they're getting. They have intimated within themselves to know where they need to be, and you don't, so you talking shit about them. Why not find your tribe? Oh, I can't find my tribe. Well, you haven't intimated within yourself to even realize it or know what you want. What kind of life do you want to live? And this is the hardest conversation. This is the toughest thing with human beings. The reality of not knowing what you truly want, because you haven't intimated with yourself. You haven't made known. Intimate, the etymology is intimus. It's a Latin word, and it means to make known. The definition of the word is letting people know how you feel indirectly. Letting people know how you feel indirectly. I let people know how I feel through my own personal private ritual that none of you guys are invited to. We all need to set up personal private ritual as to what we want to bring about in this world. We have to start with ourselves first. If you don't start with yourself first, then you're looking for something external to validate your shit. And when I mean shit, I mean your literal bowel movements that rest within your being that you haven't purged out. And this is the filter for which you see life through shit-stained glasses. Because you refuse to purge, you refuse to cleanse. You don't even understand the art of mastering your emotions. You let your emotions master you. And so as Mars is actually trining down to the Sun and Mercury down in the first decan of Libra. And we talked about this yesterday. This is talking about peace. So enterprise and peace are synonymous. I have to say this because this is truth to me. When I'm discovering things and when I have problems, when I'm searching for solutions, the easiest way for me to come to this realization is through the modality of peace. Peace is power to me. Because I realize if I'm not at peace, then I'm in some form of anxiety, some form of stress, and that is the primary thing in my life, that stress, that disruption. So if I'm focused on stress and disruption, I can't access peace. And I realize that peace is where my power is, though. So I have to make a conscious decision to not, if it's something that I got to deal with, I'm going to deal with it. But I'm not going to go through my day, through my life with lingering stress. We're addressing shit every day as it comes to me, so I don't have that stress, so I have that peace, so I can constantly stay in my power. So we're making decisions, we're balancing our minds for the sake of enterprise today. We realize that spiritual symbolism, spiritual ritual, spiritual acts, spiritual in the sense of I'm doing something by myself, outside of myself, for connection to higher celestial realms, outside of this physical stuff. I'm deeply connected and taking time to connect to the spirit. And I can't stay in this space for so long because I got to do terrestrial stuff. But even if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, however much time you have to sit and exit your mind for a second or even enter your mind enter your mind, make known what you want. Okay, can you make known what you want? And by this, and then you incorporate the idea of paranoia. We don't want to feel like, I don't want to deal with the spirits because the spirits, they don't really manifest like that. That shit don't even be real or like that. I don't even get into that type of shit for real. But I need some money, so Hood Mystic, what you think I should do? Well, you should meditate and really get into the higher celestials. But what if I go crazy? What if they, you know, something bad happen, Hood Mystic? Well, first of all, brother, you came to me, first of all, with a problem. So my thing is, bad shit is already happening. So at a certain level, if you feel like spirit and these things are bad and doing ritual are bad, how worse could it get? Her Mystic, you got a point there, brother. I see where you going with this. And also, like, when you talk about a mystic rectangle, it is a beautiful, spiritual, it is a mystic rectangle, but it's full of oppositions, but it's also full of support. And when you realize that Chiron is a part of this mystic rectangle, our wounds are a part of this mystic rectangle, and the reality is that our wounds are there for us to heal. And if we have wounds, then we have purpose. If you don't have any wounds right now, then you probably are really scratching your head. Like, what do I do? I'm so perfect. I feel so great. My body is in shape. My spirit is fine. My body is, I'm just perfect. Hood Mystic, I don't know. What are you talking about today? First of all, you should be helping people if you live in a perfect existence, because everybody that I come across is not living in a perfect existence, including myself. There is things that we need to work towards. And second of all, if you have a wound, then that is your purpose, to heal that wound. You shouldn't be worried about getting a big fancy car. You shouldn't be worried about living in a big house. Because you have to realize wounds are serious, and we have celestial bodies. We talked about this yesterday on our interview with Sister Queen's Resurrection. The link is in the description of that powerful build that we had last night. Be sure to check that out. The link is in the description. The link will be in the comments as well. But we talked about the reality of our various celestial bodies that exist, our emotional body, our etheric body, our astral body, and those bodies may have scars too. Especially if you dealt with some trauma, if you dealt with some grief, if you dealt with some deep, dark pain that you can't really readily talk about every day when you go to work, because you're gonna kill the vibe. It's like Susie in HR, or a water cooler talk or something like that, and you start bringing up child molestation, and it's just like, whoa, Susie, we was not ready. We was talking about the meeting today. I'm not trying to go there. You know, this is not the time and the place for that, Susie. So, you know, get into a point where you're really intimating the real shit within you, as opposed to just wanting external shit. Because I'm telling you, you could easily have this shit, but you have these wounds and you'll be bleeding all over your goddamn Mercedes. And you'll be like, well, I'm not bleeding. I don't have no wounds. But you have different bodies. You have different areas of your life that are wounded, that are bleeding all over the place. You be dealing with men, dealing with women, and all of that trauma and shit show up, and you just like, oh, I gotta go. What's wrong, baby? Oh, I just gotta leave. Like, what happened? It's like real shit that's going on with you, but you want everything external to intimate for you, but you haven't intimated within yourself. And you really hope that Mr. Right, Mrs. Right is going, you think a sugar mama is going to come with a whole bunch of money and make your life better. And it ain't never gonna work that way. And it's all about healing within yourself and doing the things that resonate with you. This is true intimation. When you know what resonates with you first, it's so much easier to relate to people. Just think about it. How many times have you been thinking about something, went throughout your day, and somebody spoke to some shit that was already in your being, already in your process, right? And it's like, damn, I was just thinking about that earlier. I was just talking about that earlier. This is what we call resonation. And this is how you figure out you had an introspective thought. And that introspective thought allowed you to connect with a different individual. But the first thing that you did was you were introspective. You intimated. You had thoughts within. And from that point, you see what you want. A lot of people don't know shit about what they want and only base what they want on goddamn TV, goddamn rap songs, R&B songs. Them R&B songs is worse than them gangster rap songs if you want my opinion, because it has trapped millions and millions of brothers and sisters in the idea of you done did me wrong, I done did you wrong, let's come back together. Like all of these ways of being that, you know, life don't always work out that way. Life is different for you. Life is different for me. And if I'm sitting here listening to all these songs, then I'm programming my mind to expect, come on and go with me. Like if you ain't singing like Teddy Pendergrass, you might not have a chance. So it's like all of these things represent mind control, and none of these things represent a true intimacy with yourself. Cause that's just Teddy Pendergrass experience. And if you looked up the story on Teddy Pendergrass, I'm sure you don't want to live the life that he lived, especially towards the end. So we need to be very, 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 very mindful about what mass media puts in front of us, and we think that is good or okay. No, it's all about it's a lot of different, deeper stuff that goes on to this. And so I really want us to get into this real quick. I'm not gonna read all this and none of that, but I just want to bring this into light. So like a lot of people in spiritual circles and things of that nature, they'll say something about the Masons and things of that nature, and you have an opinion about it, good or bad. That's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is the act of the compass and the square and the idea of masonry. These are real things that actual masons use, but the real masons don't be building shit for real. These are symbolic and allegorical contents that serve as a different thing to, you know, use your mind to get deep into your subconscious mind. So really using these tools, not saying that you got to use a square and a compass and call yourself a Mason, but whatever it is that you want to use to represent that symbol for you. And it's personal too. It's like the things that really resonate with you. Like, I know what I need for my spiritual stuff and for my spiritual setup, and I can't necessarily tell you what you need. Cause when I figured out what I needed for my spiritual setup, I trusted myself. I really wasn't asking people too much. I knew what resonated with me. I went to the botanicas, I shopped around, and oh, I like this. You know, and oh, I can't afford that right now, I'll come back and get that later, that type of thing. But really, it's all about choosing the right tools that resonate with you. And when you do magic and when you do rituals, you are really doing it based upon what you want to feel. How you want to feel. Because I can give you $1 million right now, brother, sister, and you would take it. But you didn't read the fine print. The fine print was, I'm going to lock your ass in this room for the rest of your life with this $1 million. Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Now you don't feel too good with that $1 million and you stuck in this 6x9 cell for the rest of your life. How does that make you feel? So we need to not focus on the money, the external. We need to really focus on the feeling that one wants to have. If you were to have $1 million, it ain't the $1 million that's gonna make you happy. It's the shit that you buy with it. And it ain't even the shit that you buy with it. It's the shit that you buy with it, that how the shit that you buy makes you feel. We have to obtain a feeling. The reality is you don't know how you want to feel. And if you don't know how you want to feel, you don't know what you want to do. And a lot of this stuff, magic and things of this nature, what I find out when I talk to people, even goals, simple goals, it's like, well, I don't know. Well, you know how you want to feel. We all know how we want to feel, and we should set up our lives particular to how you truly want to feel. Because if you have a vision board and you have all of this stuff that you want on this vision board, maybe you get it, maybe you don't, but you're not really pinpointing you in the vision. Where are you at in the vision? Why do I just see a Benz, a house, men and women? I see all of these beautiful things, but I don't see you. I want to see you. And the reason that I can't see you is because you're not in tune to how you feel. And the reason is nobody's talking about it. Nobody's gonna tell you this shit, because it's way more easier for me to say, come get what I'm selling, because what I'm selling is going to make you happy. What I'm selling is going to make you feel better. I'm giving you a particular feeling, which I'm not, but you know, this is life. And so let's deal with this tarot for a second. The Prince of Wands, and today the Prince of Wands, since it's by itself, there's no other court cards with the Prince of Wands. It represents an energy. It represents a direction that one is going in, being led by passion, being led by what you feel. And we're not gonna stop with this being in love, being in love with how you feel and learning how you feel. This speaks to this as well. The Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is all, like, if you look at the Two of Cups, it is a well within itself. It pulls from the ocean, and it's like a reciprocal motion, and it's really symbolizing what's happening inside of our brains, our left brain and right brain. When we unify that, we become whole. We're creative and logical all in one. And it's also ruled by Venus, and Venus is that deep connection to all people. Oh man, yesterday I was under the bridge. They call me a troll, like, on the internet, but I be real life trolling. Like, I got this spot under this bridge, and I was looking at the water cascade down from the top of the bridge. I was watching it cascade down from the top of the bridge. It was falling down into the river, but it was like mad drops. It started coming down. So I was like, and I was looking down to where it was falling at, and it looked to me as if the water was having a celebration. Like the river was having a celebration that its droplets was falling down to it. It was like, yay! It was like a party. And what do you call those? The rings, they were spreading out. And it just looked like when water meets other water, it's like a reverberation. It's like it travels forever. It's like, if you ever, and we all are water. We all are just cups out of the cosmic ocean. And when we deal back into that cosmic ocean, it is a celebration. It is a good feeling. And I seen that in the water yesterday. The Chariot, fully aligning to a goal on the inside. If we look at the Chariot, I don't know if this focus dead center in on the Chariot. He is fully attuning to that goal within him. And then once he fully knows where he wants to go, he has his gargoyles lead the way. Just symbolism of an inner goal relating to an outer goal. But It's very key to understand that without this consciousness, without this spirituality, you are attuned to an outer goal without ever factoring in an inner goal. This is not easy. This takes a lot of work. And so this is why we have the eight of dis. It's something that we have to cultivate. It's something that we have to work towards an inner goal. Like, right? That's very difficult, but very hard to come across in individuals because you never spent time in it. You've never cultivated the idea of figuring out what you want. It's ironic, but it's so true. I don't know. And the reason why it's so ironic, because you should naturally want to do what you want to do. You should naturally attune to your goals, but you don't know. Since you were born, your parents, your teachers, everybody has been trying to get you to focus on the external goal. You need to go to college. What are you going to do when you turn 18? What are you going to do when you turn 25? Do you got goals? So you feel that pressure as opposed to really attuning. And I'm not saying everybody, but for the majority, I'm speaking to the majority, we are under severe mind control, brother, sister. Interference. Eight of Swords is the interference of everybody else besides us. It don't matter. Nobody is closer to you than you. I don't give a damn. You may have responsibilities, you may have commitments, but when it comes to feeling and love, nobody should love you more than you love yourself. And if you love other people more than you love yourself, you're dealing with a form of interference. Because you cannot fully love people outside of you if you don't fully love yourself anyways. So throw the whole situation away. The Empress represents the overall energy that keeps us. So if we're going to look at these last three cards, the Empress sits on top of these last three cards, where we have realizing, oh, I have to work for this. It's gonna take time. I gotta cut people off because I need to really focus on what I'm saying. The Empress comes in finally as the last card as to why. Why do you have to work hard? Because we hate working hard. Why do I have to cut people off? Because I love people. I don't like cutting people off. I want to keep all of my friends, but everybody that's around me is not for the best. It's not for my growth. This is a reality, especially when we get into consciousness. And this is not a bad thing. This is a good thing, because you need to deal with yourself first and foremost. And that's not to say that you can't come back to these people, but you need to come back to yourself. I hope that resonated. I hope that made sense. I feel like I discussed a lot of information in a short amount of time. So be sure to listen back to this. Be sure to, if you didn't listen to this, make sure you have a pen and a pad to really deal with some of these aspects, to really deal with some of this information. Hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Be sure to contact me for readings as well at hoodmystic@gmail.com. Also, if you want to know my prices, you don't know my prices, want to know my prices, www.hoodmystic.com. Look for the readings and consultations tabs. If you don't know if I'm a good reader, a lot of people, you're not really sure if they know what they're doing when they read or whatever the case may be. Make sure you check out my testimonials. These are real people that I've done readings for, that gave me their honest feedback. And so I like this more than me telling you how good of a reader I am. I'm just a reader that studies and wants to give you a good reading, but the reviews, they speak for themselves. The testimonials, they speak for themselves. So I really hope that this message resonated with you guys. I will be back tomorrow with another message. I really do have love for you, humanity, the individuals who are trying to attain spirituality, trying to get, some light in a world of darkness. Hopefully I could be a beacon to you guys and we could begin to grow and learn together. Wednesday, we'll be discussing Mercury and Uranus, and that's all I got to say. Peace.